Okay, so we are live. So here we are to talk about the fifth round of the Geyser Grant, and this time covering the projects that have applied so far in Latin America. So we've got lots of us today to talk, which is really good. So really pleased to see that. So yeah, this as per Mick's last stream, this grant is to support Bitcoin educational communities around the world. We're trying to roll it out to as many countries as possible, but this stream is just for the ones that have applied so far for Latin America. But I think it's important to note that the grant is still open. We're still open for applications. So if you're seeing this and you haven't applied yet, please create a Geyser project page and join in. We need more people from all over the world, but again, we're very light in Asia. It'd be great to see some more projects from over there. I think we've got a few more in Europe now, but anyway, open to everyone, open to all, and anyone can apply. So, cool. Okay, so we'll kick this off. So we've got a mixture of projects and board members here. So we've got myself and Mick from Geyser, and we've got Andrew and Lucas who are board members, and then we've got 3 projects on the call at the minute. So I think if we want to do a quick, Andrew, do you want to do a quick introduction to yourself and to Blink and what you're expecting from this?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I'm Andrew. I work at Galoy, builders of open source Bitcoin banking infrastructure, and developers and maintainers of Blink, which is formerly known as Bitcoin Beach Wallet. We are super excited to be part of this grant. I'm super excited to be with the board, seeing a lot of familiar faces, and personally a student of Bitcoin education projects. I think super important to Bitcoin adoption is people that are educating and building communities. And so just a quick note on Blink. It's a wallet that's built for bottom up Bitcoin adoption. And so it's, a great first Lightning wallet. It's a great wallet for everyday payments. As I mentioned, formerly known as Bitcoin Beach Wallets, what was designed in El Zonte starting in 2020, pre-Bitcoin law. And so, fast forward now 3 years, and Blink is continuing to, take learnings and lessons and feedbacks from the front lines, from these communities. So we're really excited to be part of this project. So you can check it out at blink.sv. Just here, excited to hear about these projects today.
Cool. And Andrew, sorry, I've got to apologize because I know you're going to be involved in a lot of these, and we're probably going to ask you to do that introduction every single time. So
happy to do it. Happy to do it.
Cool. Okay. And also, we got Lucas as well, who's on our panel of judges, and you've done a few of these, and you're here again with us, Lucas. And do you want to do a little introduction for yourself and what you're hoping to see?
Sure. I think I've been in the board since the very first cohort, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you for the opportunity. It's a really great pleasure to check all these projects that are applying for Geyser grants. Like my main job is as a Lightning evangelist at Lightning Labs. So Lightning Labs is building the infrastructure that lots of the projects and companies that are building on Lightning are using. So even Galoy and Geyser are using our software. So most of my time I'm focusing on talking with the companies, projects, and developers that are building on Lightning. But it's a great pleasure to also be closer to the actual communities that are using it. So thank you, Galoy, and thank you, Geyser, for this opportunity. On the side, I also try to help with education. So I put up some meetups in São Paulo. I'm hosting a conference in Brazil, SatsConf. You're all invited. And I also founded with Andre Neves an organization focused on educating developers in Brazil to work on Bitcoin. And also we give grants for these developers to work full-time and open source. Thank you for the invitation.
Cool. Okay, good
Excited
stuff.
to see all the projects here.
Yeah, well, let's get started with that straight away, shall we? So we've got the 3 projects here, and I'll let you guys introduce yourselves, but and we'll give you kind of 10 minutes each to talk and present, and then also we'll then have some questions from me and maybe Mick and Andrew and Lucas on them. So Amanda, you were first to join the stream. Do you want to go first?
I'm unmuted. Hi, I'm Amanda, self-proclaimed Maxi. I have been living in Mexico for quite a while now and part of the Bitcoin Yucatan team. So we have our other members here, Daniel and Mercedes. So we were actually talking about how to present today, and I think we should actually start with Daniel, if it's okay, because I really like how he explains their piece, if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So hi everyone. So I'm Daniel, and we kind of started by sheer need because we were exposed as after Joe Nakamoto asked if there was a Bitcoin Beach project in Mexico, and then we started speaking to everyone in the community, and it turned out that there wasn't. So we were scrambling at the last minute to come up with something. So we thought, okay, well, how can we benefit from kind of all the experience that a lot of the other projects have had? So we kind of really went back to the drawing board and started to think, like, from a bird's eye view strategically in Mexico, what would make the most sense. And then from that, we came across a government initiative that's called Magical Towns, like the Pueblos Mágicos. And that's already an existing network aimed at tourism of 132 towns throughout every single state in Mexico that offers something really specific, and it's backed by the government. So whenever it's a highly coveted designation, so whenever you get named the Pueblo Mágico, immediately your tourism intake goes up. So then we thought, okay, what a perfect place to find the right magical town, and literally plug into this network and show, because as we now have other examples in, as you know, El Zonte, Guatemala, where after the introduction of Bitcoin, they've seen drastic changes, right? So we thought, okay, so we want a story that we can tell the rest of the country. And this is just by fluke. It turned out that the newest addition to the Pueblo Mágico network is the town of Sisal, which is just down the road from us. Well, it's like about 50 minutes down the road. And it would be a perfect example to show, like, kind of how the newest kid on the block could adopt Bitcoin and overtake everyone else, right? Because this initiative has been going on, I don't know, like over 20 years or more, right? And it's been exported to other countries because it's so successful. So that was our premise. It's like, okay, what can we do if we directly target one of these Pueblo Mágicos for Bitcoin adoption? And that's so out of that, we put the message out to the pleb community and said, okay, well, this is an idea, right? It's just like, this is what we're thinking, who agrees with us. So then out of that, it was the next step was to bring people down and show them, just to see if they agreed with us that this was a good strategy. So we had an improvised conference. In fact, we had Paco down, like, it was amazing to have that kind of support from all these plebs coming over and just, seeing if they could verify our vision. And on the back of that, we were so inspired and motivated, and we found so much success that we actually thought, okay, so we need to formalize this a bit more. And that's what Bitcoin Yucatan grew out of. And so we're actually focusing on Yucatan. The state of Yucatan has 4 Pueblos Mágicos. And some of them are a bit bigger and more established than others, but there's 2 kind of new kids on the block. It's the town of Sisal that we've already started our initiative in. And there's another town called Mani, which is a really interesting town because they are recovering Mayan agricultural principles and reintroducing them to the community because they've been lost for almost generations. And so those are 2 key towns where we can start to focus on the adoption of Bitcoin and hoping that Bitcoin tourism can play a role. And then obviously Mexico is, we're trying to create a meme for Bitcoiners to really kind of understand the significance, right? Because Mexico is a very unique, I guess, geographically and economically, like the kind of influence it can exert on the world. If there was some type of adoption in Mexico, we say that it's a domino that falls both ways because it has impact in Latin America and South America as well as the US. So and because of so I think the next closest economy would be that of Brazil in terms of actually having an impact from a trading perspective with its immediate countries. But on the Mexico side, there's the actual language network that already exists, and it exports so much culture, right? Like all Mexican soap operas are viewed throughout the world, even places like Asia and stuff. So that's what we want to try and have a strategy where we can get our foot in the door in Yucatan, which is a major touristic state. Then we'll have a story to approach the rest of the country and the rest of the Pueblos Mágicos. So our idea is to start a game theory competition within the existing Pueblos Mágicos to really not have a choice for them other than to adopt Bitcoin, because they'll be literally stealing the tourists from everyone else. So that's the general plan. And obviously, so we're focusing on 3 areas in Mexico. That one is go to the actual population directly, which we are doing in the towns of Sisal and Mani. And then the next step is academia, because that's one of our biggest obstacles, because there has been so much FUD in Mexico and there's such little information. So we're trying a bit like the Bitcoin Policy Institute that they have with some more serious people that you can defer to when people start to come up with with regular FUD articles and perceptions. And then the third wheel is really tourism, right? That's really because obviously no project can get off the ground without like new money getting injected into the system. And for that, we're quite lucky, because Mérida, which is the capital of Yucatan, has a huge expat community already. And these are people that have actually kind of fled their homes and are starting a new life in Mexico. So they have a huge incentive to improve the local situation. So we're finding a huge intake of that. In fact, like strategically, a lot of our education will be towards them, because they are then the people that we can take to the towns of Sisal and Mani, and they'll spend their sats on the spot. So it's kind of like a parallel, like 2-pronged approach that we're doing. And we are trying to approach it in a slightly different way. Maybe for that I can defer to Mercedes, because Mercedes is actually my mother. So I kind of dragged her out of retirement into orange pilling, and because she has a very specific background, and hopefully she can talk a little bit about that.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation. I really appreciate this space for us to share what we are very hard trying to do. As I said previously in some of your meetings, starting from scratch. And starting from scratch means a recognition of what actually is there available in the community. For instance, Daniel was saying in Mani, we have already a very important project at community grassroots level with these priests that were marginalized by the official church. And they have been working over 30 years with these communities. That implies that these peasants that have been exposed to this training, and it's a training of 1 year in agricultural practices, that they have lost due to the economy of this fiat system that makes them adopt all this junk food and all this processed food that is resulting in Yucatan having the highest incidence of, for instance, diseases like diabetes and obesity, that is a disease that attracts other diseases. It's a very, this pattern of morbidity and mortality, it's a very clear show of how the repercussions of this change of habits. So these priests wanted more than anything else that these indigenous Mayan communities reappropriate their knowledge in terms of agriculture and try to reintroduce these practices so that they improve their diet and go towards a more natural diet. Mexico has been traditionally, very much like in India, we have, I think, a treasure in humanity because we have, Paco must have known that by experience. I mean, I think we are so rich in terms of our food, the variety of of delicious meals that we had, but also nutritionally speaking, we have now the world is adopting curcuma and things that for these cultures have been for centuries been known. So we are trying to build on this experience of all these little villages that are around Nani, that these priests have trained, and they are practicing their training throughout the years. And I'm talking over 30 years. Is like growing a tree. We don't, once you plant it, you have to wait until it grows. The culture is the same. You have to acknowledge what is already there so that Bitcoin arrives and try to bridge this actual situation they are in with their tradition, their richness in their cosmovision, and then present Bitcoin as, to me, is an alternative. I had the opportunity to have this interview, thanks to Gigi, with it was like very overwhelming because I was not prepared for this interview. But anyway, once I had the interview, what I was trying to emphasize, to me, Bitcoin is just a marvelous opportunity because I have worked in development over 50 years, 10 years in Mexico and 40 years internationally, and in countries, over 50 countries in Southeast Asia and Africa and throughout Latin America. And what I experienced there is that if we don't take into account what the population and the communities have already there, it's very difficult for them to reach what the dominant culture arrives with as a solution. And Bitcoin could run the same risk if we don't take into account how to bridge these local cultures with this more modern perspective. And technology, is so fast. I myself have to, I think Amanda and Daniel have been very patient with me because I have to really try to catch up with them. And it's something that we take for granted to go on and work at grassroots level. We need to know where to start, because that's what I mean to starting from scratch, because in our communities, hardly you can have internet access. And if you have it, you can hardly have a mean to access it. Some of them have, for instance, cellular phones, but computers at home are very rare, to the extent that children are completely marginalized in their education because they don't have access to these technologies. So we are trying to bridge in a way that we take into account what is already known. For instance, in Mexican tradition, pre-Hispanic cultures always were bartering. That means that for them it's very normal to exchange goods. And they use even cacao seeds as coins, as a more stable thing they had at hand. But in our different traditions, like the Maya culture, use some other little stones as money made out of jade. So this tradition, when you explain to them Bitcoin, it's very accessible, really, conceptually speaking. But at the same time, we have to let them know how to reach from where they are to where they could be. And we had the experience, for instance, in Mani with the restaurants. We're starting to orange peel in the restaurants. And the man was saying very happily, yes, I want to adopt it, but I am very clear that I need sometimes immediately the money. So I need to know that in case I want to cash it, I have a place where to cash this money that I have there. And they kind of are ready, but at the same time, they need some steps to adopt it completely. So we're documenting this in order to see what are the barriers. And for instance, we think that we can create something that can be replicated throughout Mexico, could also be, due to the similarities culturally speaking, could be adopted throughout Latin America and other countries. And that's a reality for all the countries that are not El Salvador. El Salvador is very, very privileged in terms of having at government level adopted a policy, and still they are struggling, trying very hard, because I speaking with Roman, we were discussing, well, the women, for instance, it's a different level. Actually, in the project, we have as an entry point women and children, because women in Mexico, and the same is true as a tendency for all Latin America, women are the producers in many communities. They also are, statistically speaking, they are the providers in close to 50 or over 50 in some countries like Nicaragua, although sometimes not officially, but they actually are the providers for the families and even extended families, because that's our economy. The Latin American countries have a lot of informal economy. That means they are not registered as productive, but they are the ones who are heading these household levels. So then women, for instance, in Mexico are increasing in terms of households that are female-headed providers, because the men are having very challenging times. I think men in our cultures are first of all, we have a terrible tradition of alcohol. Drugs is a major problem. So that means that in productive time, where it's very challenging, they just kind of drop out. And the tendency, even in medical field, and in the medical field, women have taken over. We have a feminization of medicine, because men are not able to breach these demands from this so intense rhythm of production. So for immigrants, for instance, is very transparent that girls perform much better than boys. So we need to do something in terms of balancing these opportunities. And at community level, we have to see that and acknowledge, in our case, that women are the entry point. That doesn't mean that we exclude the boys or the men. No, on the contrary, we are seeing how to reach them in a way that we can compete with alcohol and drugs. It's not an easy task. But women, definitely, when we help them and support them, they will invest in bringing up their children. And that maybe Amanda will talk later about. For instance, we are very inspired by the, for instance, Brazilian experience of the fruit through Bitcoin, through the children in schools. We are already designing that. And we are seeing if fruit is the item that we have to give them access to, or maybe something that is even more nutritious like cereal, something that they themselves can sell and can adopt Bitcoin, talking about this circular economy. And we are thinking about using My First Bitcoin. Roberto is there. Roberto, very, very glad to see you there, because Roberto contacted me after the interview with John Vallis, and it was so beautiful to see a Mexican there so engaged in Salvador. So for us also, what My First Bitcoin offer as a platform for us to start. We cannot adopt everything, because sometimes we think, I was discussing with Dalia, that we need definitely to design materials more focusing on women, and also materials that are not so academic, because those materials of My First Bitcoin are excellent, but sometimes are very good for a schooling system, for instance, for children at secondary or high school level. But for grassroots level, we need to do some adaptation, and maybe we can exclude all the more scientific or academic information. For instance, it's very difficult for the local people to understand, to define inflation in an academic term, but to understand, they understand perfectly the situation, because they go shopping and they realize that the beans are always more and more expensive. That is very clear to them. But they have, for instance, a saying in Mexico that says, if the beans are shortening, we add more water to the beans, and then we can provide more beans for more people. So the community has strategies. We should not underestimate their wisdom, their information, their tradition, their cosmovision. But we have to document it in order to avoid improvising, and to have the desired outcomes that we want for in introducing Bitcoin in these communities. I think Amanda will take over. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Okay, that's great. I mean, it's really looking at your project page. It's really diverse, and just listen to what you're saying there, where you're trying
Back to starting from.
Sorry, I think we've got a bit of a lag here, but yeah, just how diverse it is. Where you're, looking for money for fruits, sats for fruit. You want to get some point of sales to give out to the community. You want to improve the nature preserve. You want a year supply of fruit, and you want to improve the school solar project as well, and increase the Bitcoin education for women. So great, yeah, it's a really worthwhile project. Sorry, Amanda, we're running a bit short for time, but if it's okay, we'll move on to the next project, and then we'll come back to you guys if there's a bit.
Can
of
you hear
time.
me? Okay. Okay, I'll be quick.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to wait?
No, if you can be quick, go for it. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I'll be quick. Sorry, delay. So another element, and I know Daniel touched on it, is we have a big expat community here, and we need to activate that. So what we did was early in the year, we realized we need to have a beacon, because how do we bring people out of the woodwork if we don't have a beacon? So we opened a Bitcoin cafe in Merida Centro in the downtown, and started to have meetups with locals and expats. And we were doing what we called max season training. So we were just trying to get everybody kind of Bitcoinized, really, and orange pill as many as we could. One thing that we learned is that having a small space is not enough. I mean, we were fitting maybe like 12 people. I know I've fed and watered Paco in there a couple times. So maybe 12 people. And what we realize is if we're going to do this, educating so many groups of people, we need to have a bigger space. So we are excited to announce that we've secured a very large space that's now going to be our education hub. So to be in there in a couple weeks. It's called Casa Bitcoin, and it's going to be great because we're right beside a university as well. So we can have Mercedes slip in there and maybe get them some fruits for sats and start bringing them in and really activating the community, because there's about 1 million people living here in Merida. So I think it's going to be a great way on a grand scale to have us bringing in more of these expats. And then another element, and I'll be quick, is we're going to implement an ambassador program, because like Daniel and Mercedes were both saying, Mexico is huge. And we need this to be adopted all across Mexico. It's just that we're using Yucatan as like the business card, really. So I'll let Daniel speak a little bit more about that later when we have some chats. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's us.
Cool, that's great. And you can just see how big and how diverse it is. It's really inspiring. Cool. Okay, so we'll move on to the next project now. So Paco, do you want to go next?
Hi, I think so. I should just drop my application. I guess these guys are doing everything more than what I'm going to do. Like, this is amazing. I was really happy that I was in Mexico and I could see this firsthand when it was starting. And I'm really happy. Congratulations, Amanda. I know you're going to get this grant 100%. If they don't give it to you, I know all of them personally. I'll hunt them down. I'll see them in one of the conferences and make the grant, give it to you guys. This is amazing. All right. I really thank you guys. I love Metamic. I love Geyser Fund from the time it started. I will time myself and I'll try to sum it up quickly. My name is Paco. I'm from India, and about 2 years ago started the project called Run with Bitcoin to travel to 40 countries using Bitcoin. Fortunately, unfortunately, I'm still alive, and I am currently in my country number 36. I have got to visit various Bitcoin communities around the world, and doing what by just being by myself, I was able to see how Uganda started, how the community in Cameroon started with Bitcoin Mountain, how the communities, the 2 new communities in South Africa started, then this community now in Mexico. And I was really happy to be part of the initial stages. Now I just left Suriname. Suriname is going to have a circular economy starting off soon. We had about 4 businesses that accepted Bitcoin. I am on the end of my journey. I've got another 5 countries to go, and that would be Panama, Nicaragua, Honduras. Then I'm going to Peru. Peru is another circular economy that's happening. That's with Motive and Global. Blink knows this really well. I will be there with them in September. And the last one, I am thinking to end it off with Guatemala. And this is why I applied for this grant project, because they reached out to me and they said, sorry, I'm reading. I love MetaMask. No, I love MetaMask Pro. You. Sorry. Can you hear me? Am I still audible?
Yep, you're good.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, this journey started. It was beautifully going crowdfunded, and I am really thank Bitrefill for a major support for this journey. If I'm able to do this, is because Bitrefill has been supporting me, followed by Bitcoin for India. Bitcoin for India is a HRF grantee, so these two are my big supporters. And I would really thank Mike Peterson also, who has been a literally helping hand. I've met him in like 5 different places now. Yeah, this is my project. The purpose of the project was to meet the humans of Bitcoin around the world. So far, you asked like, oh, Paco is just traveling. Yeah, we were able to host about 105 Bitcoin meetups in different countries in the world. You can see what is happening in Sri Lanka, Qatar, Kenya, Uganda, so on and so forth. And was able to open 1,000+ new wallets. I feel like a scammer because I got a lot of people on Blue Wallet Lightning, and I do not have their personal IDs to tell them like, hey guys, get out of Blue Wallet. So I do not know how many people I have scammed. Yeah, this journey was possible. Brazil was another community. I am really happy I was right there when they were doing Jericoacoara, and there were 2 other communities got inspired, and now they have Rolante, and then they have the Bitcoin Montaña in Minas Gerais. So I just feel like I am blessed to be part of this huge Bitcoin journey because everybody is doing their best, and I am here in this part of the world to just share the human connection because everybody looks ROI. There is no ROI on Bitcoin economies. The all Bitcoin economies start by some whale supporting them, and then they try to be self-sustainable, and that's where El Salvador is now. I feel Brazil will reach there. Bitcoin jungle would be there. I am really hoping for Peru to be doing that. So I'm really excited to meet these communities. And as such, I'm just a messenger of the hard money, and that's what I do. I talk about hard money. I do not care you like Ethereum or you like Solana. It's your life, it's your choice because this world is a casino. You got to make your pick. But I always talk about how Bitcoin is really good for you and what you want to do with Bitcoin. And yeah, that's in short my journey. And that's why I applied for this grant because my crowdfunding kind of dried out. And I was like, I need to see to the end. It has become so challenging that I think so I will not be traveling after these 5 countries anymore. I will take a break out. I'm going to do a hard fork. I'm going to stay out. And it gets really challenging when you're doing this day in, day out for 2 years. I used every part of myself to do this because I believe in Bitcoin. And inshallah, things go well. Yep, that's about it. Yeah, we are on that page of how my money will be spent. I do not get $150 per day. That's out there. All right, I get about $30 to $40 per day. That's why Amanda flew me out. Amanda fed me for 12 days. Lucas took care of me in Brazil. And you guys know what I've been doing on my Twitter posts. So far, so forth, what has happened is a lot of opportunities got opened that I got to fly out to various conferences around the world, and I got to meet Bitcoiners in real life. I couldn't touch Satoshi Nakamoto, but I can touch other coders and developers, and I'm really grateful for that. As such, we are very early. Anybody says that Bitcoin adoption will be in 5 years, I'm ready to go on a chat with them. I'm ready to talk to anybody on that matter because the reality in life is that we are not sitting in a cozy house. People are fighting for their food, shelter, and clothing. And Bitcoin is the least of their worries. They do not care about Bitcoin. South Africa, Bitcoin Ecosi is a very good example. People just care about their basic amenities. I can talk about that, how we are 15 to 20 years early in this entire ecosystem. It's a game of the rich people where the rich keep getting richer because they have access to information in English and Spanish and French and the other things. There are over 1,000 languages in Africa. People don't even know. An average African salary is $60 per month. Costa Rica is $300 per month, $250 per month. You know what you do in $250, $300. But I am really happy to share the positive word. And I think so this is me fulfilling my word, which wouldn't have been possible if Bitcoiners did not invite me to their houses and did not feed me. I've got a little tummy now. I still run. It's still called Run with Bitcoin. And yeah, thank you so much. I think so that's 5 minutes of me speaking. Thanks.
Perfect. That's great. And again, I mean, earlier you just said you're like the messenger of hard money, but really, I think you really embody proof of work as well. Like, you know, you don't stop, you keep going. And, you know, I think you're a great representative for Bitcoin.
Paco probably knows more local Bitcoiners around the world than anyone else. And he visited more Bitcoin grassroots communities than anyone else. Like, actually, like, I really think, Paco, after you stop your traveling, the next big project for you that would be really, really valuable is write a doc or a book or whatever, like gathering all the learnings from all these different communities. Like it would be really, really valuable for all the other communities that are bootstrapping.
Yes, yes, I will. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a break and fix myself and write a book, because all these communities, I can literally look into communities' eyes and say which can be a scam and which cannot be a scam. I know people can lie. I can see that shit. I was up close with one of them. I will not, like, I don't bad mouth, but I know what works and what will not work. You need money to make a community successful. All right. You need money. Simple as that. You need petrol in your car to make it successful. You cannot just come down and shout Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin and have things successful. No. There is no creativity in an empty stomach. All right. I am able to do this because I get money. If I don't get money, I would not be able to do this. But I really respect the local communities who go out of their way to do this. A big example would be Mike Peterson. He literally left everything to do all of this because he loves El Salvador. We have Amanda here, we have Mercedes here. They really love Merida. Otherwise, she would be in Tulum or in Playa del Carmen, synchronizing her chakras. She's not doing that. I saw that personally. She's out there, sitting there, far away from all of that. I mean, Roberto is doing with me Premier Bitcoin. Guys, education. We talk about education. Guys, people don't know basic maths. I was in the Caribbean islands. People do not know what's 2 plus 2. All right. So enough of this education thing. People don't know how to do maths. And we are here teaching them Bitcoin is maths, and Michael Saylor has 150,000 Bitcoins. Who no. It is just like frogs in a well echoing who is the loudest. We are very early in this process, but everybody does their best. And I really appreciate, that's why I call Bitcoin as a government job, because when you have a government job, your future is secure and you're working for the next 30 years. That's what Bitcoiners are doing here for the next 30 years. You can look at MetaMix hair. When he was traveling 10 years ago, he was a young boy, happy to go. And now he's become this gothic guy who's out there with long hair and being like, we're going to get Bitcoin to people. We're going to do this. You become that. You look at that. You know, Jack grows his hair. Why? To get wisdom.
Longer hair, longer beard. Andrew agrees. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Lots of wisdom, lots of a beautiful download from the heavens. Thank you, Paco, as always.
Thank you, guys.
But yeah, if there's any feedback on that or comments.
Yeah, come to Merida to write the book, Paco.
I love the food. The best food, I swear to God, now after traveling all these countries, food is the sincere love. And then comes other things in life. I guess Bitcoin is number 2 also after that. Food, and Mexican food is my God. It's so good. I think so. I was thinking about it, and Mexico makes sense also, you know. And I was like thinking where I will settle my base. So inshallah, see you in Merida. Now that you have 3 things going on, not even one. Last time it was Sisal. Now you added 2 more. Like you're making a taco of your Yucatan community.
The Paco recruitment campaigns are starting right now. Everybody's like, okay, how do we have Paco land in our community?
Yeah, well, inshallah.
We're gonna steal Mick over in the end of August, so you should hop over and join. It's gonna be a good time.
But also come to Yucatan to be part of this education, because that would be very nice especially for the women to see experiences and have a perspective that there are other cultures and other people are adopting. And they are very clear they don't want intermediaries. They are very clear that they want to have their own money, and they are very, very happy to see that Bitcoin could be some opportunity for them to escape out of this fiat system that they are very clear that is suppressing them, and they don't run a chance. So you are very welcome, Paco, to join forces over here in Yucatan.
Thank you, Mercedes.
Guys, I will have to stop just because, guys, I'm so sorry, but we have 15 more minutes and we have 2 more presentations to go through, and I'm sorry for letting that slip. And but all good. If we've got Roberto and we've got Dussol from MNTH, so if you guys, one of you wants to get started, and sorry for compressing your time.
Go ahead, Dussol.
Dussol, do you want to go first?
Yes, sorry. I was trying to find my microphone. It's the first time I use StreamYard, so So thank you so much. This is so amazing, like being here with all of you guys that are doing basically the same that we want to pursue here in Roatan. Well, first of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. I am 25 years old, and I started working with AmiTH last October. I have been on the libertarian movement on here in Honduras for a very long time. I am right now based in Roatan, Honduras, inside of Prospera jurisdiction. That I'm probably you are kind of familiar with it, but it's a special economic zone where Bitcoin is actually legal tender. So I've been based in Roatan for more than 2 years now, but I started working at the Bitcoin Center in October, and it has been like very amazing because I was like basically the second employee, and we started from scratch, right? We were like nobody knows about Bitcoin here in Honduras, and we have to really start from scratch. And I think you can all agree that education in Latin America is a very big problem. Like it's not good education in Latin America. So this is one of the obstacles that we find at first, the education, and people don't know more about finances and stuff like this. So the first thing we started doing is onboarding businesses, and this comes also with an education job that we do. So onboarding businesses and explaining people how Bitcoin is beneficial for them if they accept Bitcoin payments. So to the date, we have now 60 businesses onboarded. And of course, if you're starting this kind of community from scratch, you will have kind of like some people like saying, because this is a very tiny island, so they will say that, oh my god, they are maybe scammers, because that's what they are used to. So we really have to we have been working a lot like on how reliable we want to like that we want to be like very reliable in the community. And also so our strategy also was to do Bitcoin Huron. That also was with the help of Geyser Fund, that we put up a Bitcoin Huron last year. And we chose 3 schools in Roatan where we would donate this money. And these schools have different necessities, like they needed to repair bathrooms, especially that, like, because the government is not like good with finances either, and we all know that. So they don't these schools were like basically abandoned. So we chose 3 schools. They needed to repair their bathrooms because they didn't have proper bathrooms for the kids. And we did with Geyser Fund the Bitcoin Hill Run. We received almost $3,000 for this special event, and we donated everything to these 3 schools. And this kind of gave kind of like a little bit of the schools were feeling like confident that we are actually like here to help. And that's why I relate so much when Paco was saying like you need money, like if you're going to build a community you need money. And it's like that. But also, like, I feel so grateful that in the Bitcoin community there's so many generous people that are willing to help others when they need it, and also helping like with the cost of Bitcoin education. Sorry. So is starting we started in October last year, and so far we have 60 businesses onboarded. But also we have been doing so much education. To the date, we have more than 2,000 people that we have educated over time with Bitcoin. And recently we started an alliance with my first Bitcoin to start giving my Bitcoin diploma to in Honduras. And I have been the teacher for that. So I graduated 2 groups already of Bitcoin diploma, and I'm going to start a 3rd one. And we're keeping the good work with keeping the Bitcoin education. For me, as an Honduran, because I am like very proud of my country, I feel very grateful that I'm working towards education in Honduras, because I see the necessity of my country of getting to know. Oh, that's also like Geyser Fund that we did. We went to BTC Prague, and we were trying to fund this project of Bitcoin Diploma. Our goal is to educate. It's very like ambitious, but we want to educate 100 million people in Bitcoin for 2030. And the way that we're going to do this is by having other educators all around the world. And we will have a Bitcoin Educators Academy that we will host in January. So if you guys are interested, I will definitely like share the link with you guys, and you can. The goal is to have 21 educators coming to the island. We will pay for everything, and we will start also like this Bitcoin project, like education, and expand throughout the whole world. So we'll choose 21 people from different communities, and we're so excited about that. We are keeping the education part, and as I'm telling you, it's very important for me because education, like finance education in Honduras, is so bad, and I feel like I'm doing something for my country, and I am contributing to my country, and it's just like so amazing. And I also like really like what Mercedes said about women empowerment, because for me, Bitcoin solves almost all problems in the world, and female empowerment is also one of them. So I am really grateful to be working here, to be part of AmiTH. And if you're not following us yet on social media, I invite you to do it. We're always doing events, and if you want to visit, I know Paco is coming, so we are very excited about that. So if you want to come, and I am mostly based in here, so you can text me on Twitter, and I will give you all the tips, because I've been living here for 2 years, so I feel like a local now. I know the spots, the cool spots in Roatan. So yeah, so really, if you wanna come get to know about Bitcoin, and also know about Prospera too, because we are inside of this special economic zone. And I was very blessed when actually like last week I was paying my taxes, and I paid them with Bitcoin in Prospera. So it was like a very cool experience, like a unique experience that I would never think about it like years ago. So it was really cool. And you can also become a resident and do a lot of stuff here in Roatan, Honduras. And we have the second best coral reef in the world. So if you're interested in diving, also we have the Satoshi's Grave, a diving spot. It's really cool. So yeah, I'm very excited about having you here. And if you want to come and get to know the Bitcoin community that we're forming, I think we have done like a pretty good job in that. Like we are, every time it's growing, like our meetups, more people are coming, educating more people. We're really focused on Bitcoin communities. Like this is what we want to do, like to create this Bitcoin circular economy. And we're all like, our employees were all getting paid 100% in Bitcoin. So that's also really cool, because I when I want to go eat or something, I look for the places that accept Bitcoin. And this is the way for me that like you start changing the world. It's like in small, like maybe things that you don't think are that big, but for me it's like small things that you do, and you're slowly changing the world. So very happy to be here, and thank you.
Cool. Okay, again, we're a bit tight for time, so I'll just throw it open to Andrew or Lucas if you've got any questions for Zeusel on AmiTH.
I guess let's give it some time for Roberto, and maybe after that we can ask a few questions, if that's okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Thank you, Lucas. So I'll try to be quick. It's great to hear you all, guys. I mean, I'm certain that all people that it's here in the call are changing the world. So Let's focus on that and as a community. So my name is Roberto. I'm part of the operation, part of Mi Primer Bitcoin team. As you know, Mi Primer Bitcoin was founded in 2021. The first Diplomado program was given in the first half of the year 2022. That was the first graduation in June. And then is when I joined the team. I was part of the first graduation. I was in love with the team, and I got to get involved in this and come here in El Salvador and be in the front line, right? So, I mean, everything started there for the organization with that program, but that graduation. After that, we had great support from the community. At the end of the year, we graduated 450 students for the Diplomado program and up to 10,000 students for introductory classes. And in 2023, we also started a huge campaign that Geyser was part of it to help us realize that. And we also break the records in the first quarter of the year from 2022. So after that, we wanted to focus more on the quality and the structure and on the scalability of the organization. So that is what we have been working these previous months, gathering new team members, improving the structure, and finding all these collaborations, as you know, with AMIDH. And I mean, we right now we're starting. John and Adam and other people in the team are starting a program in which there are nodes that are participating as a collaboration with us, just being aligned with the mission, the vision of the organization, that is basically impartial, independent, community-led Bitcoin education. So that is what we're focusing on. And in this program, these light nodes, we're trying to make toolkits for these communities to start over and don't have the friction that we had, all the lessons learned that we had, all the mistakes that we made, and all the things that we have learned in the process with all the team. So that is part of the why we're doing that, and also because we know that we alone cannot do that. We need the help of the community. That's why it's important to start these collaborations, and not just on the Lightning nodes, but also on the operation part of it. We're trying to find people that can help us to scale the operation and how we do it, and not to rely so much on the, let's say, people or hand labor that we have right now, and more focus on the community and support on the community. So that is what we're trying to do here. So, I mean, it's great. It has been a great journey. We have learned a lot of lessons right now. The future, it's really great. I mean, we have collaboration right now with the Ministry of Education here in El Salvador. So, I mean, in a couple of weeks, we're going to start educating 150 teachers of the public system here in El Salvador, and start to teaching in the public system in a more scalable way. So in that sense, we're going to train them and to follow the teaching process with them for the rest of the year. And if everything works well, we're going to implement it the ministry will be implementing that in the rest of the country. So that is great because, I mean, we need a lot of help. Obviously, we cannot reach in the next year the whole country by ourselves. That's why we are finding these type of collaborations, and that also enable us to focus more on the private part of the education and also the businesses. That anyone that have visited in El Salvador knows that there is a lot of work to do there. I mean, there is a lot of training to the employees and the managers and all people to actually understand how to set Bitcoin. I mean, it's a basic. I mean, everyone that comes to El Salvador have this experience of going to this place that accept Bitcoin, but for some reason the employee doesn't know, or the manager in turn doesn't actually know how to do it, or they don't want to do it and they just say that the system doesn't work or whatever, right? So there is a lot of things that we have to also help here in the community and the industry to help them accept Bitcoin here in El Salvador. And also that will enable us to give more products or more material for the communities and the light nodes to work with in everything that they're doing. So that is what we're doing right now. I mean, the team is growing. We are finding new team members because, again, we want to scale. So we're focused on that. And also we're starting a Diplomado program in Mexico this month, actually the 21st of August. It will be the first diploma program that is going to be given in the public system also in Mexico, in the Autónoma Nuevo León. They're one of the biggest universities there in the northern part of the country. So that is a great achievement also for us. And After that, the idea is to start collaborations. As you know, as you already all mentioned, in Mexico, there is a lot of opportunities. But again, the organization is focused on El Salvador because we know that if the things are being done correctly here, it can be implemented elsewhere, right? So the focus of the organization is El Salvador. We know we only have one opportunity in history to do the things right, and everything is. It's why I'm here. It's why all the team in Mi Primer Bitcoin is here also, to try and do this in the right time, in the right moment, with the right team, right? So that is the focus. So thank you guys. Thank you for the help. I mean, right now there are at least 16 nodes, line nodes that are working with us in different parts of the world: South Africa, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Honduras, that is here in the call, Portugal, Uruguay, a couple of line nodes in the US, Canada, Hong Kong, and UK, Costa Rica. So the community and the network is growing, and we will learn a lot from them also. That's what we want. I mean, for example, Susela, I know, has been working with Dalia a lot and has helped us a lot in the workshops to improve them. So there is a lot of work that we are relying and helping us with the community and grow together, right? So thank you, guys.
Cool, that's great. I just wanted to show you that it is spreading all over the world. My copy there. That's cool.
Nice.
So again, I'll throw it over to Andrew and Lucas, so our board members. Do you guys want to ask Roberto any questions?
Yeah, happy to answer.
I can chime in. Roberto, that's awesome. So been loving seeing the program. When you guys open sourced the curriculum, say 6 months or so ago, was cheering you guys on. Boss, open source is the way. Question is, I saw, so you did an English version, which I think kind of unlocks other translations. I would love to hear if you have any update on what translations are people working on or what's happening there.
Sure. I mean, we already have the translation in Spanish, and we also have been working in Portuguese. There is a Portuguese version that the community in Brazil have helped us to translate. Swahili, that's another one that in Africa that community has helped us to translate. Also in Korean, but to be honest, we haven't done the proof work, the proof of read. I mean, we actually don't know anyone that we know knows how to read Korean, so we're working on that. But as I said, I mean, we're finding the teams and the collaborations to actually find a way to make the translation really easy and frictionless for anyone. To have the toolkit and to have all the application and all the tools and the AI application that they will need to just translate to whatever they need. So we're working on that to actually make it more scalable, because right now has been a lot of work, a lot of rework for everyone to read everything, all the updates and things that the community helped us to correct. We have to make sure that in all the version has been implemented. So that is something that we're working on to actually make it more scalable. That is part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, my question was actually in that direction, and I think Zuso can also chime in, which is like, maybe it's too early to say anything about that, but I'm curious to learn more about, like, given the curriculum is open source and it's being translated to all different languages, and also all other communities are also teaching other kids in other communities in other countries using the same curriculum. I'm really curious to learn more about the process of how this curriculum will be like a living document, and all the feedbacks and iterations from different communities and different areas of the globe using that same curriculum, how that will be the feedback loop will be dealt with. And like maybe Zuso also had like something to mention in terms of like maybe something in her local community that they needed to change or anything like that. So I'm curious to learn more about that living open source curriculum process.
Yeah, no, and you're right. It's quite a challenge, and that's what we have been learning with all the communities. I mean, right now, Adam, John, and Dalia have starting these meetups with the line notes, and to start getting all this information. We just started with that, so there is a learning curve that we have been working there. And as I told you, I mean, there are already ideas, applications, and AI tools that we already know that we can use. But we need, again, the money, the investment, and the people that actually can make it happen and continue to execute it. So that is something that we're working on, and for sure we're going to at some point ask for help to the community when we're ready and when we have everything set, right? So, but you're right, that is the challenge. And as Mercedes said, I mean, that is part of what we want. I mean, everyone will adapt the curriculum to their own needs, and they will use the information that they need, and they will apply it as they understand and they know they will get to the community. So that is part of it. I mean, it will never be perfect. It will never be for everyone and everything, but that is where the community gets on, and when Mercedes, Susel, and everyone in the call can help us to improve that, right?
I think what we will need is to, you are right, Lucas, to document a bit the experience, because for us, as discussing with Dalia, all these other cultural translation we need to do and adjust. This open source that you have provided, for me, it's a pool of knowledge and experience that is there for us to potentiate according to the local needs that we are confronted with, and then document it so that others can benefit and can apply in different realities. But thank you very much, Roberto. It's fantastic, your work. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also like very excited about what is coming with my first Bitcoin, because I am also part of the Lightning nodes, and it's really cool that we are kind of like we are like the teachers that we have the experience of giving them my first Bitcoin. We have a group reuniting and talking about what we're gonna do, and I feel like very grateful also, like my first Bitcoin is involving other people into the process of sharing this curriculum, and I feel like it's really good that you guys, like, like to feel heard, because me as a teacher, I want to say some suggestions, but you guys are so open to it, and I really love that. And one of the things that I totally agree with Mercedes, like she said, that is kind of like complicated for some people, the curriculum, and we definitely like is some of the topics that we already discussed, that we will have like a less complicated version and a shorter version too, for different kind of target audiences.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Dalia sorry, just one comment. Dalia has been focused on that a lot, to make a diplomado program just with workshops. I mean, just with the dynamics in place, without all the jargon, let's say, and all the technicals and all the history. So actually, it'll be like a simplified version. But you're right. There is a lot of work to do there. And thank you for the help.
Was the diploma thought for like a specific age or demographic, or?
I mean, right now, the average age, it's in between, it's 17 years old. So that's why we're implementing that program in the public system. As Mercedes says, it's not for everyone, really. But from there, any teacher that has the information can take that as just as a support or a tool, and give the class as they prefer, right? Or as they know how to. But yeah.
Nice, congratulations, and really glad I can see, like, get to know all these projects that you guys are building.
Yeah, and actually the really exciting thing is you can kind of see, like, technically you guys are all competing in this grant, but actually, everyone benefits each other, right? It's such an open and welcoming community that the knowledge is shared, and everyone benefits. Everyone gets a visit from Paco, and no matter what happens. So it's really
Paco
cool.
is the connector.
Yeah.
Yeah, the feedback loop between these different communities, and how like one inspire the others, like one starts a specific project, then the others adapt and also use it. It's a really nice experience to witness.
Yeah, and it's like Bitcoin, right? It's aligning the incentives. That's all. That's what you're seeing in play. So that is beautiful.
Amazing.
Cool.
But in the same way that you say there is a connector, like in this case Paco, it's also important to invest in coordinating efforts, but also documenting what people is doing, because then, like for instance now, if we need translation, as Lucas says, we need in Portuguese, we need in Spanish, we need in English, but we also need cultural translation, then we need something more focusing on women. So if this is documented, and for that also is necessary some budget, when you can invest in people documenting these experiences, so that we provide this information or make it available for others who have starting similar experiences get access to this already built up experience by different communities in different countries and places. So it would be interesting that if someone has the capacity to draw how to interconnect, because I find it extremely rich, this experience. I mean, and for me now that you were describing this project, although I have read before about Honduras, but for me it was just like an island, a description of one group targeted, but going to see what is happening there and documenting it is a different experience to interconnect what we are accumulating in terms of barriers and enabling factors that allowed Bitcoin to be adopted. Thank you. Thank you very much, Roberto. And the group of the First Bitcoin, because it has made possible for us to start a process of education about adjusting this information to different needs.
Yeah,
So give our gratitude to all your team and our love to all of them. The same that Dalia, I have talking to her. It's very nice to have access to all your experience. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say. Dalia and the teachers, the teacher group has been great, and all the notes, as Suselno said, has been really good, helpful. So yeah, thank you.
Cool. Okay. Well, we've been going for over an hour now, and it's just absolutely flowing through. But I think we need to start wrapping things up. Just I don't know. Like again, going back to the board members, Andrew, Lucas, have you got any sort of last comments you want to say on today's stream?
Go ahead, Lucas.
No, all good. I think I had a good chance to learn more about these projects, and really excited about like the idea of evaluating all the different projects that are going to apply. I'm actually like, I wanted to give grants to everyone, but I'm really happy.
Maybe we will.
Yeah, maybe we will. Thank you, Geyser. Thank you, Galoy, and thank you for all the projects that are applying, all the work that you guys are doing on the ground. It's really exciting to witness that.
Yeah, I will just say, same. Thank you. It's just to double sort of reinforce what was just last said, is like the interconnectivity between projects, or the community of communities that is being formed, the connection of nodes around the world, and the way that information is being shared is incredible. If you look back just a year or two, in 2021, there were like 5 Bitcoin circular like projects that could be named, right? And now there's like 60 and growing. And so Geyser, hat tip to like bringing everybody together for these meetings, for these sessions. So cheers, everybody. Nice job, and thank you.
I remember when I first learned about the Bitcoin Beach Brazil project, and I connected Fernando with Mike. And at that point, we were like unsure, like how this communities would evolve. And now I see like Fernando like going to Prague and doing the Bitcoinized POS and helping all the other projects with the fruits, and then other projects help with the curriculum, and other projects help with other like all this learnings that get adopted by different projects that were started in one other project. This is like an amazing like
these are seeds that are going to grow into sequoias, like, you know. And so I love to see it, and to help water them via the Geyser platforms.
I really want to say too that Geyser is like an amazing tool, like to interconnect all this project, and I feel also like oh my god, so grateful for Geyser, because like I see all these projects coming along and in Geyser, and Bitcoin community is just beautiful for me, like how people are so willing to help these kind of projects. And I love that, for example, we're all reunited here, we're working on our own thing, but also like we can be allies in this, because we're at the end of the day pursuing the same mission. So, you know, if you need something from me, I'm totally open. Like I love when Bitcoiners reach out to me, or me reaching out to Bitcoiners, and we help each other in this mission that we decided to go along.
Cool, that's great. Okay, well at that note, I think we'll wrap it up. But just Mick, do you want to just have the final word, and then we'll say goodbye to everyone?
I don't want to take more of everyone's time, but yeah, thank you all so much. It's been I learned so much. So much great has already been said. It's been an honor to be a platform for all these great creators. But you guys are the heroes. You guys are doing the good work on the ground. We're listening, observing, bringing you guys together. But super honored to be part of this community or this community of community, as was said. But yeah, thank you all so much. Can't wait to see what happens next with you. What happens with your projects, and yeah, keep in touch, keep building. Let's go.
Cool.
Good stuff. Thank you guys.
Thanks very much.
You guys. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.